Today, we're diving into Stephen Bartlett's phenomenal book, The Diary of a CEO. I mean, this is a guy who built billion-dollar companies and then sat down with hundreds of the world's most successful people, all to figure out one thing. What are the unbreakable laws of success? Well, we're gonna unpack them right here. So, right off the bat, you gotta get what this book isn't. It's not about some hot new business tactic that'll be totally useless next year. No. Bartlett is digging for the deep stuff, the timeless, unchanging principles that are the foundation for any great achievement, personal or professional. All right, so in this explainer, we're gonna break down 4 of his most powerful laws. We're gonna look at mastering yourself, shaping the world around you, building an incredible team, and then asking the one question that could literally save you from disaster. And it all kicks off with the most important piece of the puzzle, you. Bartlett's whole argument starts here. Before you can even think about changing the world, you first have to build yourself up. He talks about filling your own buckets, an idea he picked up from a world-renowned spiritual guide. And this right here, this single quote is the heart of his first law. It's so simple, but it's a non-negotiable truth. If you want to give anything to the world, your energy, your ideas, your leadership, you have to be full first, period. Trying to run on empty? That's just a fast track to burnout. But a person with full buckets, they've got the fuel to do pretty much anything they want. So you're probably asking, okay, what are these buckets and how do I fill them? Well, Bartlett boils all of our human potential down into 5 key areas. And just knowing what they are isn't enough. The order you fill them in is everything. Now pay close attention to the order here because it's critical. Bartlett is crystal clear about this. You have to prioritize the first 2 buckets, knowledge and skills, above everything else. It's so tempting to chase the other stuff first, right? The money, the fancy title, the reputation. But doing that without a solid foundation of what you know and what you can do, it's like building a skyscraper on a swamp. So here's the bottom line. Investing in your knowledge gives you the highest return you can possibly get. It means that a job that pays you less cash but gives you more knowledge, well, that's actually the higher paying job in the long run. Real wealth isn't what's in your wallet, it's what's between your ears. All right, so we've worked on ourselves, our buckets are getting full. Now let's look at how you start to influence the world around you. This is where you actually begin to shape reality. And according to Bartlett, the best way to do this is often, well, kind of weird. To really get this, he tells this amazing story from his first company, Social Chain, and it perfectly explains his 10th law. Useless absurdity sells. It all started with a purchase that, on paper, looked completely insane. 13,000 pounds. That's what they spent on a giant bright blue slide inside their office. Now think about that. You're a young startup, probably counting every penny. And you drop all that cash on an office toy? It seemed totally irresponsible, totally pointless. And honestly, in a practical sense, it was. Bartlett even says he hardly ever saw anyone use it. But here's the magic. That useless slide became their #1 marketing tool. It got them more press, more attention, and more clients than any sales pitch ever could. It was basically a billboard that screamed, "We don't play by the old rules." It told their entire brand story without a single word. And once you see this, you see it everywhere. That fancy gym with the huge climbing wall, they're not selling rock climbing. They're selling the idea that they're the best, the most equipped. That hotel with beer fridges in the shower, they're not selling convenience. They're selling an edgy punk rock identity. It's absurd, and that's why we talk about it. So the takeaway here is pretty simple. Being practical and rational is fine, but nobody tells stories about being practical. It's the useless, the inefficient, the beautifully illogical things that make a brand unforgettable, that get people talking. And in the end, that's what sells. Okay, so you've got yourself sorted, and you know how to shape reality, but you can't build anything truly great by yourself. That brings us to our 3rd pillar, the team. How do you build one that's way more powerful than just a collection of individuals? Now, Bartlett argues that most of what we're told about leadership, treat everyone fairly, treat everyone the same, is actually a recipe for an average team. The real secret to truly great leadership is something else entirely. And here it is, law number 32. And yeah, it's a bit of a shocker. Be an inconsistent leader? It just sounds wrong, doesn't it? But Bartlett's point is powerful. Treating everybody the same ignores the most basic fact of humanity, that everyone is different.
He uses the story of the legendary soccer manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, to explain. So, it's halftime in a huge game. Ferguson storms into the locker room and just lays into his best player, Patrice Evra, screaming at him in front of everyone. The thing is, Evra was playing great, so why do it? Because Ferguson knew Evra's personality. He knew he could take it, and it sent a thunderous message to the rest of the team. Nobody is above the standard here.
And that was Ferguson's genius. It wasn't a blanket treatment for everyone. He knew his players so deeply, what made them tick, what scared them, what fired them up, that he could be inconsistent. He knew exactly who needed that tough love and who needed a quiet word of encouragement. Just like his former player, Peter Schmeichel, said, this custom-tailored, inconsistent approach is how you get the absolute best out of people. It's about knowing your team so well that you can be the specific leader each person needs in that specific moment. That's how you create a team that's truly unbeatable. And that brings us to our final law for today. This is all about philosophy. Bartlett gives us one critical tool here, a method designed to protect all of your hard work from the one thing most likely to destroy it, your own blind optimism. He tells this incredible story about being deep into launching a massive new project, a podcast network. The plan was solid, the team was hyped, he'd even hired a top-tier CEO to run it. I mean, this thing was happening. He was basically at the point of no return, or so he thought. Right before signing the final papers, he used a technique called a pre-mortem. It's simple but powerful. Instead of hyping everyone up about why the project would succeed, he got his team in a room and asked them to imagine it had already failed. Spectacularly. And what happened next was insane. The floodgates just opened. This was the same team that just an hour before was all in. Now they were listing off fatal flaws. Their resources would be stretched too thin, the talent they wanted was unreliable, the market was shaky, and worst of all, it would destroy the company's focus. They killed the entire project right there in that room. And that is the one question that every single leader, every entrepreneur, every creator has to find the courage to ask. Why will this idea fail? It forces you and your team to step outside your own echo chamber and confront the ugly truths. It helps you see the cracks in the foundation before they bring the whole thing crashing down. So think about it. What project in your own life could you apply this question to today?